Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Kevin Dean here for Superpower Review, coming back at you with another live stream video. It's Saturday, so you know what that means. It's What's That Comic Book. This is the new comic community show where I hang out with a bunch of great people from the comic community, from the YouTube comic family or the IG comic family, and we come together and we just chill out for an hour, randomly pulling comic books and just trying to give as much information about them as possible. You're probably going to be seeing slabs, keys, back issues, and maybe some stuff that you've never seen before. And so make sure you sit down with your pencils, eBay ready, classes in session. So I want to thank everybody for taking time out of their day for checking this video out on the live stream. Don't forget to smash that like button, guys, if you like today's content. If you guys are new here to the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel for future content. And if you guys go into this video's description down below, make sure you guys subscribe and follow my panel down below as well. So let's not waste any more time. Let me introduce my first guest. We have Ryan over at Automatic Comics. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here. If you happen to hear any horses or anything like that, my wife is watching Heartland upstairs, so I'm not out in the country.
No, thank you so much for coming by, man. I really appreciate it. You are one of the people who came and reached out to me about being on the show, and thank you for that because it shows to me that people actually really like the show, and it gives me less work that I have to do.
Yeah, it's fun getting to see other people, the books they pull. I mean, that's why I love watching things like auctions. You get to see random books that maybe you don't normally see, and so it's a lot of fun for me.
True. Well, thank you so much, man. And our next guest, we have my good friend, the Vancouver comic junkie.
Yeah.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you guys doing? It's nice to meet you, Ryan, finally in person.
Yeah,
I guess
nice
digitally in person, but that's cool. Kevin and I are old hat at this point.
Yeah. You're just that guy that I know.
some old fat guy. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, Chris.
But I'm excited about this show. This is a great show. I love the idea of this show that we just randomly grab crazy shit and just look at it, and it doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah, totally. You know what I mean? Like YouTube, sometimes I take too seriously. This is my relaxing show. You know what I mean? Where I just get to sit back, look at some books, and nerd out with other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Cool.
I got my drink, and I don't drink very often, so hopefully it doesn't have too much of an impact on me.
I had too much of that last night, man.
Don't get too crazy, because if there's an auction going on, you might have to buy us a couple of books. All right, so for our
last night.
Dude, it's not recommended. You shouldn't do that.
No, I woke up and I'm like, $412 on what? And I'm not going to say what. I'm just going to say.
And then you have your significant other with their hands on the hip, tapping their toes, like, "What did you do? What did you buy now?"
If they find out.
I like your style.
Well, you film these videos of it. It's not like it's a secret.
She doesn't have to watch this. She doesn't care.
Exactly. All right. So for our last guest, we have a IG comic family member. We have Omega Red. What's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me on. I'm pretty new to this, so if I stumble or mess up, everybody just kind of look the other way, and
No, don't worry.
We're going to point and laugh.
This is the first time I'm live. I'm used to my videos. I get to cut and edit and all that kind of stuff, so I don't get to do that now.
Let me tell you something, all right? So, there were for years when people were following the channel, like, Kevin, we love your videos. Can you please do live shows? And I was just like, man, I don't want to do a live show because you guys have no idea how much I mess up and how much I need to edit. So you kind of get used to it, and then you fumble on it, and you're like, who cares? It's live.
That's the nice thing about Instagram is the anonymity of it, where I can, just exist behind a logo. So it was kind of interesting when I got asked to be on here. If I wanted to, I was like, do I want people to see my face? Yeah, but no, I'll do it
if you want to.
Well, it's too late now.
Just
the only negative I've found with the live is that people will, because there's weirdos out there. Like I said on another show, 20% of comic collectors are assholes, and it's totally a fact. That's just facts. And those 20% will literally contact you and like correct you or tell you you were wrong and argue you about stupid shit that comes out of your mouth. And stupid shit comes out of my mouth all the time. Just ask my wife.
All day. That's Chris's
constantly.
life.
That's just me. So like, if they expect me to like stand by all that, come on.
Well, that's perfect because I'd like everybody to know that I'm a novice. My thought was I'd be bringing a novice perspective to this group. I think everybody else in here has been doing this much longer than I have. So if there's anybody that wants to correct anybody, they can correct all of you, and they can just, you know what, he's new. We'll give him a pass this time.
You be aware, right, guys? Give them the pass, all right? I just want to acknowledge some of the people who are watching us tonight. We have my buddy MJ Comics over across the pond. Thank you so much for joining in. We have Jonathan Michael. What's up, Karate Kevin? How you doing? We got Jason W in the house. What's up, man? How you doing? And we got my buddy Remy Q Studios, who is always on it when the channel is live. He's always in the chat, showing up these links in the chat. So if you guys again want to subscribe or follow my guests, you guys can do so in the chat, thanks to Remy Q Studios, or in this video's description down below. All right, guys. I think I got everybody so far.
I love watching MJ Comics stuff. I feel bad every time they get some thing back from CGC and it's messed up. I feel for it.
Jason, James, I miss you too, buddy. I did. I miss you too, man. It was not the same seeing you guys. Yeah. So like they have to ship out from England all the time, and to go all the way to Florida, and like stuff can get a little messed up through transit, which kind of stinks. You know what I mean?
Are they sending their stuff through a shop?
Yeah, well, sometimes I think they do have to send their stuff to a shop. Maybe if MJ Comics is still watching, which I'm sure he is, if he can explain in the chat. Yeah, so they have to go through like another facilitator, I believe, and that facilitator sends the books to CGC. But CGC also has there's
an office there in London.
There is an office in London. Yeah.
Okay.
They don't have a place where they can grade books, but they have an office where they can
I think it
answer phone
lowers
calls.
the price of shipping or something because they batch it all together.
That's what I always wonder. Like, how much is that shipping cost to send those books and just get them back? Like,
yeah,
dude, it's $180 to go to Canada.
It's super expensive.
Oh, wow, $180 bucks.
Oh, God.
180 per box of 25 to get here.
Wow,
Wow.
that's crazy.
We got
It's
Count Von
ridiculous.
Strange. Count Von Strange in the house. Thank you so much for jumping in, brother. Paul Cook, what's going on, man? And we got Jason W. Canada representing. Glad to see Vancouver Junkie. Great guy. He is, man. He's a totally cool dude. So, yeah, thank you so much for the people joining in. 6 people watching. Make sure you guys smash that like button. All right, let's get into the show. Ryan, you want to start us off with that random pull, buddy?
All right, so I'm going to say it's not totally random on this one because when you
failed.
when you set that thumbnail, I originally wasn't going to show this book, but I felt I kind of had to. So this is Wonder Woman #1.
Oh my! We're starting off with heat already.
So I saw Steven with Comics with Bonix, and I was like, I can't compete with an AF-15, but I can at least go like Golden Age rare stuff. So
wow.
So it's a 0.5. It's missing 2 wraps, but it's got the cover, and the cover is basically complete, so it looks really nice. And
what a piece of shit!
I love this book because it's basically the scene from the first Wonder Woman movie, right on the cover, and it's that scene where they're fighting with the soldiers and everything. So I think it's a book that really draws you in because her first appearance is in All-Star Comics 8, and it's she's not on the cover. I mean, that's pretty traditional with Golden Age, is you don't get to get the first appearances on the covers, which is why Action Comics and Tech 27 are so rare, because you get those heroes on the cover. And so this is cool because you're getting her right on the cover in an action sequence and everything. So yeah,
wow.
Just one of the books that I'll struggle to let go of. I mean, I will probably at some point, but it's tough because I know I'm not getting another one. So.
All right, so I mean, I'm not the biggest Wonder Woman guy. Okay, so can you enlighten me and let me know what year that came out?
This was 1942.
Wow.
So Yeah, so these ones were quarterly. So at the top here, so it's summer of 1942. So that was similar. I think Batman early on was a quarterly release as well. It was Detective Comics was monthly, but Batman was quarterly. So there were a lot less books over the course of those first few years.
Man, I don't care. Okay, low grade books need love too. Okay, like
I can't afford anything above a 0.5. I mean, I can barely afford a 0.5. So.
My Daredevil #1 is a 1.0, and I love that thing to death. You know what I mean? I got that book way before, like a little bit before it started spiking really hard, but like I look at it, it might be like totally trash, but it's my totally trash.
You
book.
timed that perfectly. I mean, that book it was probably the most undervalued Silver Age key, and then now it has gotten right back up there with the other guys. So
yeah, for sure. I mean, I should have pounced on it a little bit sooner. I could have gotten it a little bit cheaper, but I mean, I was off by $100. So.
That's not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all. Before we continue on, MJ Comics has answered our question. We submit through Europe's biggest facilitator called Scott's Collectibles. It costs more than CGC UK, but they look after us. Plus, our pressers drops them straight at Scott's store for us. Yes, they use a presser a lot, and I guess that presser drops it off to them. So, James Gower, if I'm correct. MJ Comics, man, Ryan has got some great books behind him. Yes, he does. He sure does. There's a lot of great books in the background, unlike my background.
Yeah, I tried to throw some Marvel and stuff back there because I don't have much Marvel down here to choose from, so I figured I'd toss it up on the wall. So
cool, very good. All right, Chris, your turn.
Well, going after Ryan, it's like it's going after John Holmes, like the guy with the biggest dick. That's not going to work. That's why
this is not a competition, gentlemen.
No, I know. That's why I'm going interesting. I love Ryan's books. By the way, that was an incredible book, Ryan.
It really.
That's the kind of stuff I want to be buying. But I'm buying this. Forceworks #1. Hey, you guys know about this book?
I don't.
Okay, so this is a weird book, and I've been buying these because I dare anyone to find this book in a 9.8. And the reason being is I can't pull this out because this is a copy that's it's all sealed in a package with other books. But it's got this fold out cover that literally folds out like this far, and it's like a 3-dimensional fold out cover. Yeah, it's like that. But anyway, it's the first appearance of Forceworks, and I've been told they're going to be part of Armor Wars, so that's why I picked it up. These are like $1 each, but I will dare you to get a 9.8. When you see these books, the way they were published, it's ridiculous. Like, you can't press them. You can't do anything. There's glue inside them, and they're just printed in this weird thing. Like, I bet you the highest grade that ever comes to this is a 9.4, maybe. I just find it fascinating. Anyway,
it might be one like that. There was another book that was, I remember seeing it on Lords of the Longbox recently, where it was originally shipped in something else that always caused them to get damaged. Like they had something stuck to them. So anytime you removed it, it would tear parts off. And so there's 198, and it was some guy who worked at Image or something like that and kept it, as one that was never circulated. And that's probably like the only chance it's got. Wow.
Well, I'm gonna be that guy who spends like $1,000 trying to get a 9.8 because I have a mental disorder, and it's truly gonna happen. I'm gonna try. So anyway, I'm gonna corner the market is what I'm saying on Forceworks #1.
That's kind of interesting. So I mean, I've never seen that book ever before.
You will now. It's gonna be everywhere when you go out now.
So whoa, the way you presented it, okay, like. So it's in a comic book bag?
No, this is it's in a box with two other comics.
I was going to say that because like, why does it look like it's packed like in a Pokemon pack or something? Like,
I'm thinking this is even rarer just because I don't know it came in this box. But I have others, and there's even a wizard like I don't know, like a ash can as well. It's smaller size that I have a few of those. But I have this weird thing where I go all OCD on certain books, and I have to buy like a bunch of them trying to get a 9.8, and especially when they're like $1 each. And I did this on this book about a little while ago, so that's my random pick. So I dare you, 9.8. I dare you. Anyway.
I was just saying, I remember one of your prior videos, you were talking about all these books you buy, and I was like, how do you store all this stuff? And then you said you had storage lockers. I was like, okay.
Yes. Yeah, and that's with an S. Yeah, at the end. Yeah. Yeah.
Jeez.
I'm gonna find one now.
Chris, do you have one graded yet?
I don't. No, I haven't actually gone that far because I'm really lazy, and but I also have a lot more important books that are a little bit smarter to get graded than Forceworks fucking #1.
I'm sure.
But I will say there is spec here.
$50 to get it graded, or
Exactly. But there is spec here, guys. Like, this is a team that has MCU potential. I wouldn't sleep on it if you see it in dollar bins. Like, even if you can't get it at 9.8, I think it's worth something.
Yeah. Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
MJ Comics with an enlightening comment. Kev, your DD1 current value, the 90-day average is $1,183. So yeah, I did look out. 975 over 1183. Yeah, I'll take it. Hey, we got comics with Bonix in the house. Good to see you, man. Thank you so much for joining in. Appreciate you. And was it the Star Wars book? Does anybody know what Count's talking about?
I wonder if maybe he's talking about the one that gets damaged. But no, there is one that's like Star Wars. It's like Dark Empire or something that came in a Hasbro or like some like toy thing. And so those ones are sometimes damaged. But
we were talking about that last night. There's I forget the name of it now.
It's the first appearance of Dash Rendar. And it's a book that, like, it isn't worth a ton right now, but with everything, that Star Wars seems to be doing, it's inevitable, it seems.
Yeah. All right, cool. Jake, your turn, man.
Cool. Well, let's start off by just saying the books that I kind of picked. I'm fairly limited on how many books. I've been reading for decades, but really I've got a bunch of just random books from the 90s that are still worthless. And then just a bunch of DC books because DC was my favorite thing to read. But when I started collecting, I sort of started dividing what I was collecting up into specs, nostalgia books that were really just things that I needed to have in my personal collection, just based on growing up, and then the books, and then the last is like the books that I actually really, really loved reading. So I wanted to own like pristine 9.8 copies of those books. And most of those current ones are horror books. Nice. But to start with, I have to lead off with it wasn't the first collected book that I bought, but it was one of the very first. And I bought it from Ryan. And it was actually back in December. I want to say, I think I messaged you Christmas morning about buying this book.
I know a lot of people, that seems to be a time people buy books because they're like, I got Christmas money, I didn't get the gift I want, and I'm going to go buy it.
That's true.
I don't know about Christmas money. Nobody gave me any of that. But it was, I'm pretty sure it was literally like right after my kids had opened up their presents, and I was like, all right, time for mine. And I found this book. So it is Giant Size Defenders 3. So this is a spec book. Trying to get where it's not so glary, but so I love the cover. I mean, this was one of those books that the spec was great, but I saw this yellow cover and I was like, oh shit, I need that book. And I was trying to get the highest grade I possibly could. And Ryan happened to, I'll say, basically I found Ryan on eBay. I found the book and I was like, I was looking at the price and I was like, I wonder if this guy's on Instagram and if he'd sell it to me outside of eBay. And it was not hard to track him down. And I
use the same name.
Yeah. And so I ended up, finding him, and I pretty much said, hey, are you willing to sell it? And he said, yeah, this is what I'd sell it for. I was just like, done, deal. Christmas. And so but I love the yellow cover. Obviously first appearance of Korvac, so everybody's specking that he's going to end up in the MCU. I think there's certainly a possibility of that with kind of all the characters that he touches, but ultimately, honestly, it's just a sweet cover. And so I just, after I'd seen that, it was kind of the one that I needed to have it became kind of a passion of mine. And then right after I got it, it went down in value, and I was a little concerned, like maybe I did the wrong thing. I'm still new. And then, yeah, of course.
And the next day, Ryan buys a new slab. Hey, check out this next slab that I got.
You know, actually, Ryan, one of the things that he's never done is that sales pitch, right? Like Ryan is not out there just saying, hey, Jake, I got this new, you know, are you looking? He's just kind of, you know, his books are out there. I know they're available. And him and I just, after that, we just started talking. And most of the time it's just me asking questions that I need help with as far as learning how to grade books, how to identify a good seller, things like that. And he's been indispensable. I'd give him more credit, but then it would make me look like I didn't learn anything on my own. But that's my first book.
How long have you been collecting for, Jake?
Collecting, where it was a conscious decision, like I'm buying this to collect, probably November.
Oh, so you're very, very new.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely new. I mean, I went in head first as far as I was out to spend money. I was out to get books that I liked. But
that's
yes,
a giant size X-Men behind you? You have a giant size
that is a 6.0 giant size X-Men one. Yes.
And you started collecting in November.
Yes.
I'm so jealous of that book. He bought
Jesus
it right
Christ,
before
man.
everything went crazy.
I
just like,
Jesus, go balls deep next time.
I literally, you know, November, so it wasn't as if I was like randomly like, hey guys, I'm going to start collecting. I've been reading for years.
Yeah,
so that was never so I knew, I was like, okay, I'm going to get into this. And when I decided to get into it, I literally made a list of the first books I have to get. And it wasn't that I didn't know anything about the industry. It was just I hadn't done it. So Giant Size X-Men 1 was literally top of the list. I have to be able to afford this. And so I made that happen essentially first. Now, it did take me until I bought the Giant Size Defenders first, but it wasn't as if I had that money allocated already to get that book. I just couldn't find the copy I wanted. I knew I wanted white pages. I knew I wanted to get somewhere at that time. Really, all I was looking to afford somewhere in the 5 to 6 range. That was where the price point was that I wanted. And this one actually I found on Shortboxed. I got a seller on there to accept an offer that I was happy with, especially with white pages. And I was even happier with because literally the price had almost tripled in 2 weeks since I got the book. And that seller, I don't know. That seller, maybe he's kicking himself,
like,
maybe he's not.
$6,000 now.
Oh yeah.
That's crazy.
Honestly, my wife is trying to get me to sell it already. I was like, I just got it. I can't do it yet.
No, that's when you don't sell. You
yeah, no, I'm at this point, I've yet to sell a book. So I haven't sold a book yet. I mean, I keep telling Ryan, I'm going to do it at some point, but I will, but currently they're all too close to my heart. So I'm not going to sell them yet.
Well, you were really smart to get that one right off the bat too, because I mean, Giant Size X-Men was one of those books where, like a couple months ago, 6 months ago, it's like, okay, like I think I'm ready for that book now. And I should have got it when I had the opportunity, but there was just other books that I wanted at the time. So, you win. In my opinion, I've won a lot when it comes to buying books, but there are those ones that you do unfortunately lose. You know what I mean? So like I was looking to buy a 4.5, which was affordable to me then, and now I think I can afford maybe a 1.8, 1.5, maybe. I don't know.
0.5 is over $1,000. Or over $1,000.
It's just ridiculous.
It's crazy.
I also, to get that book, I gave up getting other books that I wanted, just didn't want as much, right? Within that, there are the tiers as far as the price range for me. That was the highest tier I could go. And within that realm, there were other books that, the Daredevil one or, things like that. I could have been finding those, but I just couldn't pull the trigger on those because I wanted this one more.
You chose wisely, very wisely.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
This is true. Being patient is key too. It really is. It's not a race, you know what I mean? But there are some times where you're like, damn, I should have picked up that book sooner.
I came out of the gates blazing. Ryan is probably just holding.
I guess so, man.
I came out guns blazing, and I probably went a little overboard. But at this point, I'm not. I have no
fine,
regrets.
The market's
So
gone,
yeah, exactly.
nuts, so.
But overboard's what you're supposed to do, right, Ryan? That's what I do. I just go overboard all the time. Hopefully, I don't go bankrupt. That's the plan, anyway.
So there's a lot of times, right, where like I try to tell my wife where I'm not as bad. You know what I mean? So like I'll show her other people like on Instagram, on YouTube, and be like, check out that guy. Like you have nothing to complain about.
Hey, dude, I'm such a Charles Manson about this shit. I've got my wife pressing books now. Like she's reading and pressing.
I know. I heard that, and I was like,
crazy.
Man, that is awesome.
Yeah, like I should start a cult next time. Like this, it's happening. Yeah, I love it.
So do you give lessons on how to wash your wives on how to do that?
I can. I'm going to start a YouTube channel. Right. It'll be coming down the road. Yeah.
All right, cool. I'll do a monthly subscription. I'm down for that.
Yeah, no, I'll subscribe. It's an osmosis thing in my house. Like literally, my wife supports that I started my IG account as far as support. Like she wasn't going to tell me no, but she also she follows along. She reads the post. She likes it. And it started, I guess, kind of getting a little too close for comfort for her when other people that follow me started following her. Yeah. Because she liked my post.
Yeah, Instagram it's creepy like that.
That's good.
Yeah, and so she was like, I don't have any comics. Nobody needs to follow me. Like I was like, yeah, you're probably right. But whatever.
My wife just knows that it makes me happy, and that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? She's like, she doesn't get it, but all that she understands is that I like it and that I enjoy it, and that's about it.
There's worse things we could be doing, man. Seriously.
Yeah, I know.
Absolutely.
I know.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, sorry, I'm investing in our future.
Investing.
Yeah, exactly.
Investing in my happiness.
Yeah.
All right. So what would you guys like to see? Would you guys like to see a Marvel book, a DC book, something from the key box, or a slab?
Preferably nudity.
Do I have to?
No. I'm talking on the book. Yeah.
Well, I don't have any of that, Chris. So maybe.
What's on the top of the stack? What's on the top of the stack?
Yeah, just grab top thing.
On top
he has a lot of stacks, I guess.
I don't have a lot of stacks. I just don't have anything on top of things. All right. Well, you know what? You guys are lame. I'm picking something out of the cube box.
Is that a dishwasher behind you? What is that?
Dishwasher? No.
I don't know why.
This is where I keep my unread books.
Oh, okay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I haven't read them yet.
It's like an inbox, like a to-do box.
Yeah, sort of. Yeah.
You're professional.
I'll keep notes in there. So here's my list of books that I want to get pressed and cleaned. So I have a little list in there. So yeah, it's sort of like a to-do thing. Like this is what you should be reading and you haven't yet. Why haven't you read that book yet? All right, let's see what we got here. No nudity. Nothing on the stack. All right, I think I already pulled this one out already, but you know what? It looks good with the shirt today.
Yeah.
Nice.
So here is a Batman.
The best Batman cover ever.
Yeah, it's definitely up there for sure. Neil Adams goodness. I think I pulled this book out a couple of weeks ago, but who can never get enough of a Batman 227 or a Batman Neil Adams, really?
I was just talking about that with someone because he was doing drawings for Elite 11 in their auctions today, and we were talking about how we wanted him to be doing books or drawings from that age. He was drawing newer stuff, but you want the Batman from the 70s.
Yeah, I totally get it. When he goes live, dude, he goes live on Instagram almost every day now, and there's just been this one drawing that he has in the background of Batman where I'm like, man, I want that Batman drawing so bad, but he charges $300 for a black and white sketch, man. Jesus.
The color ones were $1,600. I was like, oh, that's too much.
Yeah, no thanks. I mean, eventually, if nobody buys that drawing that I want, I'll eventually get it. But it's man, that's a key right there. I rather buy the comic. You know what I mean? But no, this is a really cool book. One of the greatest Neil Adams Batman covers, and unfortunately, he does not do the interior artwork. In case if you're a huge Neil Adams fans, if that's gonna shy you away from buying the book, but it is a really cool read. It's a very interesting read. I do like the read in it. It's got the creepy horror feels. It's got Batman vibes in it. So totally check it out if you can. Do they have a facsimile one of this? I don't think they do yet.
Not that I'm
I
familiar
don't
with.
know.
Not that I have. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think they do yet, but to
Well,
anybody who
it kind of is the facsimile, though, right? So
True. Yeah. True. Yeah.
true. Well, yeah, cover
if
wise.
if you've got like 50 grand to drop on a Tech 31, you know.
Oh,
But I know you guys. If anybody does want to read a Batman 227, there is somebody on YouTube who has it page for page, and you can read it. That's so.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. I do that a lot, actually. You know what I do like? I don't know if you guys have gotten into this, but have you guys gone onto a YouTube channel or looked for a book to read, right? But the person actually does voiceovers for the talk bubbles, and they actually do like sound effects for the environment. It's super cool, man.
Man, that's a lot of effort.
It's like the Harry Potter guy that reads all the different voices, you know?
Sort of, yeah. I forget what they have a name for it, but it's super cool. Like I stumbled upon a Swamp Thing #1 one time, and it was like that where they had actors, you know, doing the whole voiceovers of the bubbles. They had sound effects in the background, and it was so cool. Like it really brought the comic book sort of like to life a little bit, and it actually kind of it's really engaging. It's really cool.
it's like an animatic.
Every once in a while, I do one of those with like because I buy mostly graded books, but every once in a while I buy kind of like a Golden Age raw book, and I'll do like a flip through video, and I'm too self-conscious to speak like the words and try to make sound effects and stuff. So I'll just flip. I'll let you read it. You know,
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. You guys should check it out too. I mean, especially if you guys haven't read Swamp Thing, and my buddy Calvin Strange can attest to it. Swamp Thing #1 is just a fantastic read by Bernie Wrightson and Len Wein, and it's just such a great book. So like, definitely give it a shot. And maybe if maybe later if I can find a link to it, I'll drop it down. But it's definitely worth watching for sure. I watched one for Watchmen, like the whole series of Watchmen.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I mean, so like
how long was that?
I think I don't know, but they had different videos for each issue.
Is it 12?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe so. And I think like each one is a half hour. So yeah,
it's longer than Snyder Cut.
True, touche. But yeah, no, definitely check it out. It's pretty cool. Let's see, DYD 3Z. What was the value for the 0.5 Wonder Woman book?
Yeah, I mean it's tough to price books like that. I mean, I paid around $4 grand for it. I wouldn't sell it for less than $9. You know, I mean, it's like it's one of those things where it's like, go find another one for less. I mean, I think the cheapest on eBay right now is mine. Everything else you're going to spend 15 or 20 grand, you know, on those books.
Wow.
So they're not cheap.
But that's like a mega book. Like
that's a huge book.
That's actually what I have in the listing. I think I call it a mega key.
It's the mega key. It's as big as it gets. That's the way it is. It's like top tier, like it fucks Silver Age. It's like it's all that. Yeah.
Let's see. I'm not a big Batman collector, but I do want that book. Yeah, if you're especially, I mean, I know Count very well. He loves his horror. Like that's definitely the Batman book to get for sure. All right, so gentlemen, we done. We're a half hour in. We're 34 minutes
we
in.
Move faster, right?
And we went one round, but it's cool. We're talking. We're conversating. It's all good. Again, guys, to the 12 people who are watching, don't forget to smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new, and don't forget to show these guys some love by going to this video's description down below and subscribing to their channels or following them on their Instagram. All right, Ryan, your turn again, man.
All right. So since we've been talking horror. I'm gonna get a twofer, I think, with this one. So, so this is kind of my like big kick I've been on lately is LB Cole, and so this is Startling Terror Tales #11, and it is you know I kind of have to go low grade with these books because they're just so expensive, but this is I mean, to me, it's one of his best covers. He's got a couple others that kind of rival it, like Mask 1 and Mask 2. But, I mean, it's pretty messed up. It's,
wow.
It's, it's kind of like his standard, like really bright contrasting colors. And so the other book is that this one's from 1952, but he did one in 1945.
Oh, come on. You own that?
That's the same spider. And but he kind of upped the creep factor in this one, so but yeah, so it's I've been putting together this 1.8 collection, and it not on purpose. They just I keep coming across them, and they're always 1.8. So that's what I've been grabbing. So
that's amazing.
Wow, mic drop.
His books are, and the great thing about it is he did something like 1,000 covers, so you can get LB Cole books that aren't $1,000 or $10,000, whatever. You can get them for $50, $100 if you start looking in some of his other titles like Contact Comics and some of the romance comics that he did. And so they all have his style. I mean, they're these bright colors, they're awesome covers, and but it's a rabbit hole. You start going down. One of my buddies that is the one that actually got me back into comics. Really, every time I send him a picture of one of these LB Cole books, he's like, "Man, you really went."
Wow.
Yeah, that spider is really, really cool. And there's one other person that I follow on YouTube who really loves pre-code horror. That's considered pre-code horror, right?
Oh yeah. There's no comic code authority.
Yes. So he goes by DS Comics, and he absolutely loves this pre-code horror. And so he has that book, and if I'm not mistaken, I believe he has the other one that he's shown as well. But he loves those books, and he's constantly always showing his very valuable pre-code horror books. If you haven't checked him out, you should, because
he's awesome.
Yeah, he's got some pretty heavy hitters for Golden Age pre-code horror.
Yeah, there are some guys just have some incredible collections. I mean, that's one of the dangerous things about Instagram is you see these books and you're like, oh, you got to try to get one of those now. And things you never knew even existed before, and then that's actually, I'll mention this. If you're going for Golden Age, I recommend picking up these.
That's cool.
These Gerber photojournals. So
nice.
Gerber's the guy that did the scarcity index. If you ever see the scarce or rare or whatever in the Overstreet, it's from that book, and it's got pictures of every Golden Age book, and so you can kind of see which covers are out there, and maybe find some that are interesting to you, and that you can try to look for, because otherwise some of these books you may never see. They might sell once a year, twice a year, if that.
Yep.
So
Ryan, wasn't it fascinating that those books, I have those books too, those books were made in the 80s, and they put those together without the internet.
Yeah,
and they got photo pictures of all those pictures, of all those comics. It's incredible.
It's every comic.
Every book, every single comic. It's really something.
It's two.
They're on Amazon. I think they're $50 each or something. They're worth getting. Totally worth it.
I went on eBay because the issue 1 is 100 or 90 or something if you buy it new. So I went on eBay and bought used copies.
Oh, okay.
Same
Smart.
pictures,
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know about those books, so it's good to know. And to anybody who is into pre-code horror, yeah, I would totally. I'm sure
any Golden Age at all.
It's
all Golden Age.
Yeah.
So
it's all action comics, detective comic,
romance,
everything,
ECs, all of it.
Count Von Strange, DS is a good dude, and he is very smart when it comes to buying books. He really is. Yeah.
Fact.
He constantly buys books that he doesn't give a crap about. He presses and cleans them, sends them to CGC, sells them for a profit, and then that's how he gets his big boy books. So.
And he keeps his collection. I seem to remember him saying he's trying to keep his collection under 50 books, his actual personal collection. Whoa. And so it stays there, and he pulls out something, and everything just gets bigger as it goes along.
That's the exact same method I try to use. And it makes for some tough decisions when you've got to let certain books go to try to keep it tight. But because otherwise.
But your number's 1,000.
No, actually, I set it at 50. It wasn't for the same reason, but I've gotten a little over it. I need to maybe cut it back down a bit. But yeah.
He actually, DS actually has. I'm sorry.
I'm 100. I try to keep. I have like a CGC, like my not grails, but like the collection I'm trying to keep together at 100 because it seems realistic to me. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, DS actually has a Batman 227 and a 9.6.
Damn.
Yeah.
Jesus. Wow.
Yeah. All right, Chris, your turn, man.
Okay, so I thought since Ryan just blew me out of the water and Jake and I out of the water, I was going to level the playing field. I'm going to pull out a book that nobody knows about, and it's one of the greatest Spider-Man keys ever. And I'm just going to show it. It's the first appearance of me on the cover of a Spider-Man comic. Vancouver comic junkie, Chris, me. That's me up there. I was the model for this shot.
Wow.
So that's Spider-Man Dr. Octopus Year 1, Issue 5. So fuck you all. I win.
So,
it's not a competition.
who was the artist for that?
Okay, so I should probably tell the backstory. This is really me, by the way. I'm friends with Kari Andrews, and we used to be like big time drinking buddies. Like we used to live like down the street from each other in downtown Vancouver, and we would just, we had a lot of fun hanging out together. And every so often he'd need like photo reference for characters, and I'd come in there and be like, and do all these poses. And we had some other guys like Steve Scrose, who did like Matrix storyboards and a ton of other comics, and Troy Nixie. We were like a little group that hung out. We would come in there and do pictures. And if you look at the Hulk books, you'll see Troy and Kari on the cover of like every single issue, like because he would do photo reference for everyone. And I'm on a few other things, but that's my technically that's my first appearance in a Spider-Man book. So
That's awesome.
I don't know. I think it's kind of cool.
Nice.
So yeah.
That is cool.
You gonna get
So I
that
got that.
slabbed? Get that in a 9.8?
I probably should, I have a couple copies of it. I probably should. Yeah. I just, it's not really like a spec.
Put the note on it to CGC. It'd be like first appearance of Vancouver comic junkie.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The YouTube comic book community needs to make this happen, man. Send that thing off to CGC, you sign it. Like, this is the first appearance of Vancouver comic junkie. And then people are like, what?
When I got this picture taken of me, by the way, these aren't my legs; these are Kari's legs, and and me up. Obviously, you could tell by that's me. But it's and I was hammered when I took this photo.
Wait, so does that make it a cameo since it's not all of you?
That might be the case. So my first full appearance is gonna be worth a fortune, whatever that is.
Wow, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, that's a weird thing. Yeah.
I love it when people bring on these weirder books, man. Like these, like it's not like a big, like everyone comes on here expecting like, keys and slabs, and here comes Vancouver Comic Junkie showing a cover of himself as Dr. Octopus. Like that's gold right there.
I told you I was bringing weird shit today, so yeah.
That's the stuff I love, man. That's awesome. All right, Omega Red, your turn, man.
Oh, jeez. I don't know if I can follow either of these guys.
No one can with
you
that
really should have put me first. I would have loved to.
You better bring an Action Comics #1 after this, baby.
Hold on. Let me dig it up. Okay. So Ryan went with horror. So I actually thought this was going to be just a horror round. I thought that would be nice. And then Chris, not horror.
Hey, it was horror. I wasn't wearing a shirt in the picture. It's horror.
Horrifying. Exactly. But I had said earlier, modern horror is one of the, what I really, really enjoy reading right now. I haven't actually gotten into the pre-code horror. I feel like it's on my path somewhere down the line, but I'm not there yet. And I don't know if I can afford to get there eventually, but we'll see. But with modern horror, there's a series that I've talked about. There's one behind me here, Ice Cream Man. I'm not sure if everybody here is familiar, but I love Ice Cream Man. I could read it over and over, which is kind of twisted because it's also really demented shit. But one of my favorite covers is this Ice Cream Man. This is number 20. I'm trying to make sure.
Wait, that's a Dr. Seuss book, isn't it banned?
Yes. What's that?
Isn't it banned?
No, well, I don't think so. Oh, you're. Geez, I hear you now. Okay, this one probably should be. This should not be read by children by any means. But so I love Ice Cream Man. I love what Maxwell Prince is doing. This I actually posted this on my Instagram account, and I was going off of Go Collect, who they said did the cover. And even if you look, even CGC says that Cameron Stewart did the cover, but Martin Morazzo, who's listed here as the artist, he commented on my Instagram and said, "Hey, that's great, but I was actually the artist on it." So I, of course, apologized, and I messaged him directly. I said, "Man, I'm really sorry. I was going off of what I was reading." He goes, "No. We actually said we released it differently when we first came out with it, but now we're telling people that he did. Martin did the cover." And I actually, so that series, they did a second and third, and then a local comic shop. So I also have, this is the third printing of that book. So I didn't get the second one. It's on my list. But I think that one's quite good. And then I really like this one. This is the one they did for local comic shop day. And so it's the same one. And I believe Martin did all of these. Martin, if you're listening to this, which you're not, but if you do, correct me if I'm wrong. And so him and I've messaged him a few times since then, and he's actually a really, really cool guy. Great to follow on Instagram. He does a lot, he'll show, himself drawing and stuff like that. But Ice Cream, he does almost all of the artwork that I'm aware of for Ice Cream Man. And it's just the twisted, goriest, kind of gross out stuff. I wasn't expecting it when I started reading it, and then I just couldn't put it down. So love the series. And like I said, I've got Ice Cream Man #1, which is another cover I obviously really love, but these I just thought were so unique because they tied into literally what the series does. It kind of disarms you with this smiling character that you maybe would recognize, a child would recognize. But then when you get into it, it is not for children at all. So that's my modern horror that I brought on.
Very cool.
Is that worth getting, Jake? I should, when it gets collected, I should pick that up, shouldn't I?
I would.
I've heard it's amazing.
Well, they're actually, I don't. So here's the funny story. What was the name of that Quibi? Does anybody remember Quibi from last year?
Yeah, that lasted like 3 minutes.
Yeah, no, I didn't pay for it.
But at one point, $3 billion.
Yeah, Quibi bought the rights to Ice Cream Man. They were going to do a show on it. Basically, they never got to make it. So somebody said Roku, or somebody actually still retains the rights to Ice Cream Man, and they still are planning on doing a show for it. I honestly don't know how they're going to pull the show off just based on all the visuals that are in it. I mean, I'm sure they can do it. It's not that they can't.
Worse than R, basically? Is that what you're?
There's no way you couldn't. Just the level of violence. It's gonna have to all be like black and white and silhouetted. Like I just don't know how they're gonna get it done. But I'm very willing to watch for sure. And it's kind of non sequitur. Like each issue, it doesn't really run a story. There's a lot of thematic elements that connect. And the Ice Cream Man himself shows up in basically every single issue. And there was a little bit of an interweaving story, but you just got to follow along with it. And each one is a little bit of its own one-off. It's kind of, people have compared it to Tales of the Crypt. I don't know if I'd go quite that far because the Ice Cream Man is not telling you these tales. He's a part of them. Like he's the reason bad shit is happening to people in this small, and it all takes place in the same town, more or less. So anyway, I recommend reading it. I recommend collecting it simply because the covers, it's artwork. Like these are the things that I would put this on my wall if I put things on my wall. I literally, I don't even have an office right now to actually put stuff. I'm in my son's room. So he's a big Star Wars collector. So I've got his stuff on the shelf back there. I made him move all of his stuff off the top shelf so I could put my comic books. He will be taking that space back when he can. So,
wow. How old's your son?
He's 13.
13, yeah. I have a 13.
Yeah, so he's loves Star Wars, and he's really mad at himself. There's a lot of figures over there. There's some really great stuff that he has that's not up there. And he gets mad, though, because these are stuff that he's collected now. But when he was, 5, he actually got some of these toys for Christmas. But, we've got old Christmas videos where he's like opening these boxes up. He's like, Dad, why'd you let me do that? I was like, you were 5. What was I going to do? Tell you no? You can't open your Christmas presents?
Pristine.
Why didn't you teach me the right ways, Dad?
I tried to tell you. You said no. So.
God, I've heard nothing but great things about Ice Cream Man. I mean, to anybody who does read it, again, I haven't heard anybody say anything about not liking it or it's, something you should skip. But if you're like into some crazy horror stuff, that you should totally read it. I haven't read it. Maybe I've always, this is one of the books that I say, yeah, I'll give it a try. And then I just never find the time to do it.
The first trade, I mean, they've got a couple of trades out now, 4 of them, I think, already, and those are pretty easily accessible. The first issue is now starting to get up there. I'd been reading it, of course, and so that was something I was lucky enough to, I've got the run. And that was simply because my local comic book store, I walked in, they know I like twisted, messed up shit. So I walked in there and they're like, you got to read this. And I was like, all right, I'm in. So, and that's how I found Something Is Killing the Children as well. Another one of my favorites. Again, lucky enough they were just like, you got to read it. And I was like, you know what I like to read. So I love those little recommendations they just put in my poll file. I don't even have to look for it half the time. So.
That's a very personalized shop. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, really good. Yeah, good people in there. So
Magic Lasso, what's going on, man? How you doing? I knew you would love that thumbnails. While I was creating it, dude, I was like, oh, Ryan is gonna definitely love this thumbnail. He's gonna message me, and as soon as I posted on Instagram, he said the same thing. That thumbnail. All right, my turn. I'm gonna go with a slab. I'm gonna see how good of a job Wifey did here. Let's go to the bottom one. Let's have her work cut out. So she can feel like she did.
Nice.
So here is a Detective Comics number 880. CGC graded at 9.0, which I don't really understand, to be honest. I think this book should be in such a higher grade. I don't know. It kind of baffles me, to be honest. But this was like a book that was like not on my radar. It wasn't on the wish list. Someone just posted it on Instagram once, and for a really good deal that I thought, I was like, wow, like that's a pretty iconic cover. I'm a sucker for signed books. I think that's a great price. Why the hell not? And so, like, when I got it and was looking it over, I'm like, man, like, why the hell is this book like a 9.0? I've thought about many times resubmitting it, but just haven't done that yet. But I mean, like, I just don't get it. It has a couple of spine ticks, but not anything to get it to a 9.0. But it's signed by Jock. So this was my first Jock signed book. And so, like, the other thing I thought about too, like, if I've never resubmitted a book before. I don't know how well that works for people. Like, do people actually?
You'd probably want to have because if you want to retain the yellow label, you've got to have either CCS press it, or I think there are some pressers that are approved to like retain that label. But
I know
you'll lose it.
I know. Yeah. I definitely wouldn't get it pressed because the person I bought it from said they had pressed the book already, but they said I could resubmit it to CGC with the case.
I'd recommend pressing it. I think it benefits you,
even though it's already been pressed.
Yeah, I think there's a benefit.
It all depends. I mean, if they weren't the best presser or something like that, like there are definitely books that have been pressed that people get repressed.
I have. Yeah.
So.
But I also think it benefits you by using their service as well.
I'm not going to say. I got a story for that. I'm going to start next book.
We all do.
All right. All right. So we're 54 minutes in. I would like to actually get maybe one more round in if you guys
Lightning
are cool
round?
with that. So let's do that. Let's do one more round, and then we'll close it up for the night.
Ryan, you can't show a book that's worth more than $28.
I don't have that around me right now.
Oh, poor little rich boy.
I just brought up slabs. That's all I got.
I know. I'm just kidding.
To the 15 people watching right now, thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it for you guys taking the time for watching us, hanging around. Again, don't forget to smash that like button. All right, Ryan, what do you got?
All right, so this one I'm going with. I kind of had like a few different like types of books I figured I'd show, and so this one is Fight Comics number 40.
Oh wow!
And it's a Joe Doolan cover. It's got Matt Baker interior art, but this is one that it's got kind of like all those elements that you really want in a kind of an early pre-code book. This is 1945. It's let's see, October 1945. So right at the end of World War II, and so you've got like the swastika stuff. You've got a Nazi officer. Then you've got the thing I love. It's got these like skulls with diamonds in their eyes, and then you have just the kind of good girl, headlights type covers, that kind of stuff. So it's, but yeah, I mean, it's, I generally have CGC books, but I've learned with Golden Age, if it's a rare book, if it's available, you get it, because you might never have a chance, or it might be 2 years before you see that, that book again. So you can't really be too picky about the grading company, that kind of thing. But yeah, no, it's definitely one of my favorite kind of early books that I have right now that's of this style. And it's one of the books that's kind of taught me to really how to start identifying covers by the artist in the Golden Age, because Joe Doolan did a lot of covers. He did a lot of like Planet Comics as well. And you start to see that he draws people very similar. And so you can start, kind of like picking those covers out without actually having to, look into it and try to figure it out. Because these guys, they don't generally sign their signatures aren't on the front. And so it's a lot harder to figure out, quickly who did it. You've got to look it up. You've got to do a little, researching, at least on Go Collect or, Cover Price or something like that.
Cool.
But,
Nice.
Very nice.
Wow.
Chris, your turn.
I got to say, first off, though, with Ryan, one of the things I like about his channel and also your books in general is that you bring the noise, I guess, with the big books, and like you collect like the rest of us do, but you also collect interesting stuff, and I learn from every time you do a video. You always have one book that you picked up, and I'm like, I've never even heard of this thing. And it makes me want to go find it.
About stuff. Yeah, I try to not just be like, I'm just showing off these books. I try to add something, because I think it's like everybody. You want people to collect and like what you like, and so you try to like, make these things seem cool and interesting, that they might, start going out. And
totally. I'm not showing an actual comic book. I'm showing a comic book advertisement. I'm out. Quick. So I got this from a while ago from my presser, who I've known since I was 6 years old, Greg Gurr. Greg and Greg Pressing out of Winnipeg. He's great. But he bought me this, and it's when I was a kid, this comic was the forbidden candy of my youth. It was the book that I had to hide from my parents. It had everything I ever wanted. It had all the gore you could ever want. It had a little bit of nudity. It had and it was in 3D, and it also was the first appearance of Art Adams' artwork. And it's Alien Worlds, three-dimensional Alien Worlds. For some reason, this comic book, when I was a kid, blew my mind. It was, and to this day, is my favorite comic book. But he sent me this somewhat recently, this ad for it, and I got to get it framed and put up somewhere. I'm waiting for my son to get out of puberty first, and and then then I can hang it. But it's I just love this thing. But I couldn't recommend this book enough. And the other thing too, these Pacific Comics, they did Twisted Tales and Alien Worlds, and Bruce Jones did them. And Bruce Jones is, like, in my opinion, one of the most underrated horror guys going. And if you collect pre-code horror, I was looking. There's 3 eras of horror for me, and there seems to be a 4th now with the new stuff. But there's the pre-code stuff with ECs, all that kind of stuff. We could all agree it's the greatest stuff ever. And then there's all that Wrightson, gorgeous, beautiful stuff that DC did in the 70s. And, Warren did some stuff. There was a really nice era in that early 70s period. But the other unknown era is this indie horror era of like 82 through about 86. And there are some incredible books. Like I got, like Gore Shriek #1, Greg Capullo artwork. This is
Whoa,
a great book. Like these are great artwork, and they're cheap. All these books are in 9/8. You can get these for like $100 and less, and they have like Dave Stevens art. Incredible.
I've seen you show those Alien Worlds books before. I mean, they look like pre-code books. I mean, that's how a lot
gorgeous.
of them are drawn. Yeah,
and it's like Rod Serling wrote them. Seriously, like they're that high a quality. They are so undervalued right now. I've got a whole bunch going into CGC at the moment. I want 9/8 on everything. I could not recommend them enough. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So
very nice.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Anyway, an ad for the comic.
Jake, your last book.
Yep. Well, I sort of committed in the last round to showing this one, so I guess I will. So we were talking about submitting to CGC. I've done a couple submissions already, or I should say I've gotten back a couple submissions that I did early on. My first submission went out in December, and I came back. And this more recent one, I just got it this last week. And so this is first Starjammers.
Nice.
And trying to get it where you can't really see your own reflection, but I got a 9.2. And this is going to be impossible for me to really adequately show you guys. I don't even know if it's going to. There are significant spine ticks here. I mean, I don't know if you can see them along the spine.
They don't count the one tick above the bottom staple.
Really?
That's an actual printing defect. I have a 9.6 with the same one.
Interesting.
Even the 9.8s have it to a degree. If you can find a 9.8 without it, truly without anything there, it's like the biggest ghost in history.
Chris dropping the comic knowledge.
Nice.
Yeah, well, I have a 9.6, and I had a bunch of them, and I just couldn't find one.
We are not worthy.
Well, that's fantastic.
Book is
So
crazy expensive now too. It's nuts. And
I
just
like
$1,800 or something. 9.6.
Yeah, I just found I got this on eBay. It was kind of a purchase I made in December, and I just really liked it. Obviously, when I first jumped in, early X-Men's one of my favorite things to collect. I've got a lot of that stuff, and so the Cockrum cover I liked. That it wasn't really being chased either, not at the time anyway. And I just wanted to try kind of starting the run a little bit of that. Early X-Men stuff from Giant Size X-Men forward. Anyway, I just couldn't believe I'm not a grader, but I'm trying to figure it out. And this thing's got almost 10 spine ticks up the side. Now, obviously Chris, what you were just saying about the staple there,
usually isn't counted, but yeah.
So, but I just couldn't when I sent it in, I was like, and I'm still learning, but I was like, I think it'll come back, an 8 is where I was at with it. And it came back at a 9.2 and my mind was just blown.
I mean, that's the thing. I think a lot of people overestimate how much spine ticks hurt the book. I mean, because each one is a point,
Yeah.
And so if you have, so say there's 9 there, then and there's no other flaws on the book, like the corners are clean, edges are clean, then that's 9 flaws. That's a 9.1, and there is no 9.1. So you generally call it like a strong 9.0, a weak 9.2, and so you maybe are going to get one or the other.
Yeah.
And so that may be where that book sits. Especially since you were saying that one doesn't count. So because I never knew that either. I never knew about that. That one was basically there and everything. So
do you guys want to see my Tech 880 again?
Well, that one's tough too because it's white.
Yeah.
I
know.
Find that stuff.
I'll tell you. This year I bought a Daredevil 131 at a 9.0, and I was super pumped about getting it, right? And because the 9.0 is what I could afford at the time, and when it came in, and I'm looking it over, and I was like, man, this thing is riddled with spine ticks. Like, how did this thing get a 9.0? And I was just looking it over. I sent some friends some pics of it, and I'm like, guys, like, does this book like a 9.0 to you? Like, I've seen books like, way better than this, and they're 9.0. Like, this doesn't make any sense. Like the front cover has spine ticks, but then when you flip it over, like the back cover, it's just like, whoa, what is going on with this book? Who was drinking on the job at CGC when they were grading this book? I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes like it's like what Ryan said. Like sometimes you can get a strong 9.0, 9.2, or you're just getting like, man, this thing should be like an 8.5.
Yeah, like, if you're sitting at like 12 or 13 flaws, you know, you're right in there, and that's when it's kind of a coin flip on which one you're going to get.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I had the exact opposite happen with the Daredevil 131 for me. It literally came back a 7.0, and I swear to God it was a 9.2, 9.4. Like there was nothing wrong with this book except for just a mild, tiniest dog ear. You would barely even see it. It was just like more of a nubby corner. That was it. 7.0. Fuck you, Chris.
We don't like this guy.
Yeah, they're proving the point. Yeah, they're sending a message is what they were doing. Yeah.
All right, last book. I'm gonna make it a slab so wifey doesn't feel bad about picking out books. You only showed one book and I gave you two.
We took too long. We talked too much.
All right, last book of the night, and
nice.
Yeah.
So
So
perfect signature placement too.
yeah. So let me tell you guys about this book, right? So as you guys know, if you don't know already, ASM 300 is my favorite book, right? This one comes very, very close. This book is amazing. So this is when Hulk and Wolverine do a rematch after the events of Incredible Hulk 181, right? So they haven't seen each other in a little while. Wolverine's different. He's trying not to be his angry self. And so Hulk just pushes his buttons and, you know, it doesn't take too long where he's going back to his old ways. And let me tell you, if you guys read comic books for epic battles, this is the book to definitely get. This is one of my this is definitely one of my top favorite books to own. Like the fight that happens in here, the great artwork from Todd McFarlane. There's so many great panels where like he shows like each character's eyes, and the other character, you can see a reflection of the other character in the eye. I really love that scene, and of course the cover. The cover is iconic. Yeah. I mean, you have Wolverine with his claws popped out. You see the reflection of Hulk in it, but there's so many good bloody moments in these panels. And if you love blood, if you like action and fight scenes, you got to get this book. I absolutely love this book.
That's gotta be like his second most swiped cover.
Easily. You know what? I'm old enough to have bought that off the shelf, and because that's how old I am. And that book came out around the time another comic came out. It's called Invasion that McFarlane did for DC.
I remember, yeah.
But it was like around the time my friends and I found McFarlane, and it was like a fucking nuclear bomb going off. Like that cover blew our minds. We couldn't throw our money fast enough at the people who were selling it. It was crazy. So I adore that book deeply.
Yeah,
so,
and it's awesome. It has because that you've got the full name signature. It looks like because he doesn't really do that anymore. You know?
Yeah. So like ever since that CGC private signing, I guess his hand was cramping from all the books that he was signing, and started signing T. McFarlane.
So much money.
Yeah. So that was. I bought that book before that CGC private signing, and I'll tell you, I got lucky because I did send in a book for that private signing, and I did get the full signature because I remember. Yeah, I got him early on, exactly. Like that was pretty key because I remember, like maybe by day 3, you know, CGC was doing this whole video with him, and you just seeing him sign as T. McFarlane, and I'm just like, I swear to God, if I get a T. McFarlane signature, I'm gonna be freaking rampaging. Like I know, and I'm sure I wasn't the only one because you know you wanted Todd McFarlane. That's the signature. This is what the signature looks like, not T. McFarlane. You know what I mean? So. I remember getting my book back and like opening it and be like, oh my God, my signature is absolutely beautiful. I got exactly the color I wanted, full signature. I'm super pumped. But now like I'm kind of like, you know, if they were to have another opportunity to have him again, I don't know if I would want to. Like I think I would.
He set the precedent, you know.
Yeah.
It's T. McFarlane now.
It's like T. McFarlane, no, Todd McFarlane. Yeah, it's like that meme, you know. Somebody got to make that now. But like there's times where I want a new book signed by Todd McFarlane, and I'll go on eBay, and it's like if it's got the T McFarlane, like I'm not even clicking on it. I'm not even looking at it.
Yeah.
Wow, I have the coolest Todd McFarlane, I guess collectible, but it's only for me. And when I was like a little older than when I bought that book, so I would have been about 13. He was in Calgary, Alberta, at a convention, or was it Edmonton? I don't remember. But anyway, we were there, and I brought my artwork because I wanted to be a comic artist. And I brought my artwork to him, and he had a lineup of people, and he stopped the lineup, and he drew over top of my artwork how I should draw capes and how I should draw, like, well, if you want movement here. But he literally redrew the whole damn thing, like in blue pencil over top of the artwork. And I have that to this day. And I'll never sell it, but it's like the coolest thing I ever saw in my life. I still pull it out every so often and kind of awe over it. So
that's pretty cool.
And I love McFarlane. I just think
he's a cool guy. Like, you know,
he was nice to me.
He's a nice guy and everything. Yeah.
I've had an opportunity to meet him, but I didn't go. It's like Stan Lee. I've had so many opportunities to meet Stan Lee at a con, and it was like $165 for a signature. I'm like, I think I'd rather buy books. I have 2 signatures from him already that I bought online. I think I'm good. I'm good with.
I didn't realize they were that expensive now.
They keep going up.
You know, later on. Like,
wow.
I didn't realize that's how much they were going for.
Yeah, toward the end, yeah, and I was like, and you might get, you know, the Stan Lee signature, not the Stan Lee signature.
Didn't Stan Lee do something like 60,000 signatures through CGC?
Oh man, I don't know.
I heard it was that, like in that kind, because it was over years.
Label, you mean?
Yeah,
like his special
I heard it. I heard it was that high. It was.
Wow.
It was radical amount. So. It's so worth it.
$1 million in signatures. That's crazy.
Yeah. But I mean, this is over years, but like, yeah. That's the number I was told. I don't know if it's true though. So
maybe we have to look into that. But seriously, someone needs to make that meme. The T McFarlane. Someone needs to do that.
That's perfect. That's the perfect one for it.
We need to do that. All right, guys, we are over the hour. I want to thank you, gentlemen, so much for coming on the show and showing off your books. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Great time.
Tons of fun, guys.
All right, so guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you all. Again, don't forget to smash that like button. And before you go, it's 9:13 Eastern Standard Time. At 9:30, I'm going to be on Mark Spector Comics YouTube channel. He's going to be unboxing one of his huge grails. Vancouver, I know you love this book, so if you're not subscribed to his channel, you should probably jump on it. Yeah, you gotta go check it out.
How many shows was this today, or is this just 2 this time?
This is my first show today, so
right,
I didn't do 3 like last week. But no, so go check that out. He's going to be unboxing a grail of his. It's definitely a beautiful book. So before anybody jumped off, wanted to shout that out. So guys, again, thank you so much for watching. I'm Ken Vidini for Superpower Review. Don't forget to subscribe to these guys and follow them on Instagram. And I'll see you guys next time.
Yeah.
Woo.